I think I stunned him. There's a fish in there somewhere. Look at that. What's going on, guys? This is Gene Jensen, and I want to talk to you today about some lures that you should maybe try out this year or this fall. Look at that fish. I love to punch matted grass. Good one. All right, so first of all, let me go ahead and apologize for the abundance of red. I didn't realize when I packed this week that I was going to run out of shirts so quickly, and this is my last one, so you get to see me in all my red glory. Anyway, let's get into this video. Baits for fall fishing. These are ones that some of them were on my last year's video. Others are just ones that are either new on the market. Others are just ones that I want to try this year, and maybe you want to try them too. But anyway, let's break into it real quick. That's a long list of baits, and I don't want this to be a super long video. So let me grab them, and we'll get started. All right. So the first one is perhaps my favorite one just because of history. I love a buzzbait in the fall. I've had some of my best fall fishing days throwing a buzzbait all day long, no matter what the weather, throwing it all the way up against the bank, pulling it into the water and starting to work it and getting bit within the first 3 or 4 feet of the bank, all the way out to just running it along the outside of grass edges. They just love a buzzbait. And this is a remake of one of my favorites. It is a greenfish tackle hammerhead buzzbait, and an old company called Boogerman used to make buzzbaits like this, and they went out of business and Greenfish bought their mold. But what it's designed to do is, as the blade spins, it hits the head. As you can see right there, the head's all beat up. It hits the head, it makes a really big vibration, and it really does get their attention. Early in the morning, actually throughout the whole day, I'll throw it and just give the fish a chance to find it. If it's muddier water, they can find it. If it's clear water, they'll come from a mile away to hit it. Just a lot of fun. The rod I'm going to throw it on is going to be a medium heavy fast action rod, like a jig rod, just because they hit the thing so freaking hard. 20-pound test fluorocarbon. You can get by with 15 or 17, but 20-pound because I set the hook like a beast when I'm fishing these things, and I don't want to break anything. So that's my favorite rod for a buzzbait. You can get by with a medium heavy moderate action rod most of the time, but like I said, I tend to break things when I set the hook, so I really have to kind of beef it up a little bit, but either one of those will work. Buzzbait, totally awesome. Okay, the next one on my list is one for covering a lot of water, especially if you've got a lot of submerged cover. You know, like scattered grass, grass that has little shoots that stick up a little bit higher or quite a bit higher than the main part of the submerged grass. Laydowns. This is great for you bank fishermen, so is the buzzbait. Oh, and I'm going to leave a link to everything down in the description, so you guys can go to Tackle Warehouse and check some of these out. But anyway, so spinnerbait. This is a Strike King spinnerbait. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know if it's a burner or whatever, but a spinnerbait with some type of a willow leaf blade, and I just cover a lot of water, trying to bump into everything, getting it hung in the grass, ripping it out of the grass, letting it flutter down. I was out with another YouTuber Andrew the other day, and if you guys have never seen that channel, you'll see a video here shortly about it, or may already have launched it. But anyway, it's Andrew Nordby, called Fishing with Nordby. I went fishing with him. He was literally throwing it out on a ledge in 16, 18 feet of water, and it was spiraling down and getting hit on the fall. So many different ways of fishing the spinnerbait. I'll leave a link to a video right up here so you guys can go watch it, but just a lot of fun. The rod I throw it on because I like to rip it out of the grass and really fish it aggressive. 15 to 17 pound test fluorocarbon, 7:3 to 1 gear ratio reel. This is a 6:6 to 1 right here. Don't like it. I don't like to fish that slow. I have to have a 7:3 to 1 so I can catch up after I rip it out of the grass and that kind of stuff. So at least a 7:3 to 1. Medium heavy moderate action rod. This is the chatter crank rod from 13 Fishing. It's got a lot of backbone. It really is good for ripping it out of grass. Just a really good rod for this setup. So the next one kind of goes hand in hand with the spinnerbait. At least in my mind it does. This is a chatterbait. Absolutely something, especially in grassy lakes because it comes through grass so well. It's something I'm going to throw in the fall. Hold your rod tip high and it'll keep it coming over top of the grass as you're bumping into the grass. I found out if you hold your rod tip low, it'll get hung in the grass a whole lot more. I got some more tips, but I'll put that into a video soon about fishing the chatterbait. This is a jackhammer from Z-Man. I've got a trailer on it, which is my new favorite chatterbait trailer. This is the 13 Fishing, the Jerk. It's a twin tail fluke style bait. It causes this thing to do some erratic stuff in the water under even slower speeds. I tend to reel kind of fast. This is an 8:1 to 1 gear ratio reel. 7:3 to 1 will work just fine. Same thing with the chatter crank rod, a medium heavy moderate action rod with a little bit of backbone. I actually, because this is the only one I have on my boat for a chatter crank, I put this on a medium heavy fast. It's a medium mag, 7'3" medium mag that 13 makes in the Envy series. It's just got a little bit more backbone and I can rip it out of the grass a little bit better and really fish it aggressive. 15 to 17 pound test fluorocarbon. You can get by with braid, but yeah, that's the chatterbait. Next one. So the next one is a swim jig. Why a swim jig? Well, in the fall, bass tend to move towards shallow cover, thick cover, thin cover, whatever kind of cover. And I need something that is a small profile that looks like the small bait fish that are shallow that I can cover a lot of water with, and it's not going to get hung up all the time. Another great bait for bank fishing, swim jig. Now, I tend to throw two different colors. I have a white one to mimic most bait fish like shad, minnows, things like that in the water. And then I have a bluegill color. This is a greenfish tackle swim jig. You guys know I love greenfish tackle swim jigs. It's about all I fish. I bought this one at a tackle shop because I didn't have any white greenfish tackle swim jigs. But the trailers that I use are pretty simple. I either use a small paddle tail, like a Strike King Rage swimmer, or I like a Rage Menace where I cut the tail off. And I'll leave another video right up here about fishing a swim jig. But fish it on a medium heavy fast, medium heavy fast, medium heavy moderate you can get away with most of the time. The only reason why I'd go to a fast rod is if I was trying to rip it through grass and that kind of stuff. 15, 17 pound test fluorocarbon. You'll notice a lot of these can be fished on the same rod. It's kind of neat. And yeah, a swim jig, just really good for covering water. Swim jig. All right. So this next one, by the way, I love these Plano boxes. These are the ones that are made out of the rust inhibitor. The whole box is made out of a rust inhibitor. And it really does reduce the amount of rust, unless you're like me and throw one that's already rusty in here. And anyway, so the next one is going to be a topwater walking style bait. Let me see if I can get them unhung. See, you wonder how in the world this happens, but it does all the time. Oh, because I'm crazy. Right. All right, so the next one is a spook or a walking style bait. And you can see right here in my Plano tackle box, I've got a ton of different kinds. I have some that were custom made by 6 Cents that they don't make, really. Thanks, Casey. And I've got some of the new 13 Fishing dual pitch, which is a very, very loud walking bait that I love because it really does cut left and right, and the rattle is in the head, so it makes a lot of noise. I've got 2 sizes of that. That's my favorite color to throw in the fall, is a bone color. It comes in a little bit smaller one, just like that. You'll see a lot of mine that are bone color. This is an original dual pitch. I don't know if they make that color anymore. But walking style baits, really good for covering a lot of water when they're open water in submerged grass where the grass doesn't top out. Or, you know, your problem with topped out grass or grass that's just a little under the surface is those treble hooks will get hung in the grass. There is something new on the market though that is perfect for that situation. If you need to have a walking bait, and that's the Pathfinder. This is also from 13. Just came out just a few months ago. They finally got everything squared away. They didn't want to bring it out until they got everything right. Really good bait. Walks real good in. Matter of fact, I got some right next to me. So you see this grass right there, and I don't have one tied on, or I'd show you, but how it's topped out, but you still got plenty of water around it and stuff like that. That's when this thing shines, is in that kind of stuff, because you can walk it. It's an aggressive bait. It's got plenty of noise. It's got one little tungsten rattle in it. And I mean, look at the cool colors it comes in. This is totally a commercial. It comes in some great colors. You're just seeing a lot of 13 Fishing crankbaits and things like that, but it really does work good in that situation. And I think it's the only bait on the market that can do that, can walk like that over top of that kind of grass without getting hung up. But a spook style bait. The Pathfinder I'd throw on a jig rod, a 7'3" medium heavy, with a little bit heavier line just because of what you're fishing it in, and you do have to set the hook a little bit harder. And then a dual pitch or any kind of a walking or spook style bait, I like to throw it on a medium fast or a medium heavy moderate. Those are the 2 rods. You want some type of a floating line like braid or monofilament or copolymer. I wouldn't recommend fluorocarbon because it sinks and pulls the nose of the bait down. And I have got this thing all in a mess. There we go. And yeah, a spook bait, guys. That's some type of a walking bait is perfect and wonderful, especially when those bass school up in those pockets and start pushing bait a lot. And you've really got to make long casts and be able to catch up with those schooling fish. Just a lot of fun. All right, the next one on my list is one of my favorite fall baits, and it's got to be a lot of people's favorite fall baits. It's such a favorite fall bait. This is a box of them, and this is a box of them. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about frogs. Hollow body frogs are my favorite frogs. Or favorite baits to throw in the fall. Doesn't mean I throw them all the time. It just means that when they're biting a frog, I'm a happy man. So this is the Trash Panda. This is the walking one from 13. This is the popping one. I've got a ton of those. I've got the Spro Frog kayak tournament this weekend, so I've got my Spro Frog box and tons of different size frogs and everything else. I've got a couple of really good videos about frog fishing. I'll link to 1 or 2 of them up here, but like how to modify them and things like that. I've got some that have rattles in them. I've got some that don't have any rattles in them but are just giant. I cut the tails, I play around with them. I have a lot of fun trying to figure out how to make them work good. But topwater frog, Now this is when it gets kind of controversial, if you say that. I have a favorite frog rod, and it's not everybody's favorite frog rod, and a lot of you guys have been following me a long time know I love short, heavy action or heavy power rods for frog fishing. This is a 6'5" heavy action or heavy power, sorry for you guys, you purists, heavy power frog rod that I kind of had a little bit to design with 13 Fishing. It's in the Muse Black line. They don't sell it anymore. They phased it out. Hopefully they'll come back with another one. But the shortest shortest heavy rod that you can find is a really good frog rod, because it makes walking a frog really, really easy. But most people use something like this. This is a frog rod. It says frog on it. But anyway, this is a 7'5" heavy fast action rod, and it is one of 13's frog rods, but it is designed for mat fishing and that kind of stuff. I just can't walk a frog very good with it. The reel I always use no matter what is the 8-1-1 gear ratio reel, 65-pound braid. This is a Seagar gray ghost, I think that's called. It's Smackdown gray, and this is one of the setups that I will use when I'm mat fishing. I've got to have the leverage, and these little short rods don't have the leverage when you're mat fishing. I can handle it. I do okay with it, but I get a lot more hookups and a lot better. I get the fish to the boat a lot better with a heavy, heavy, long rod. So, hollow body frogs, you can't beat them. There's nothing like that blow up. Man, oh man, I love it. That one was out there. Whew. Goodness gracious. I love catching a lot of frogs. Oh, come on, dude. Hook's in my hand. Come on. Whew, man, that son of a gun got him. Not bad on a nice little chunky fish. Man. All right, so my next one is a square bill. Only because it is one of those that when you're fishing a lake without grass, when it's just got laydowns and rocks and you know, drops on the bottom and just a whole lot of just things to bump into that aren't grass in the very, very shallow water, a square bill is the way to go. The bass are keyed in on bait fish. They're looking to eat anything that they possibly can, any kind of reaction strike and stuff like that. And I love to throw a square bill. Let me see if I can find one of my favorite colors. And I probably have it in here somewhere. Yep, right there. It's buried. But one of my favorite colors, this is a KVD 1.5 square bill. Usually a lot better at getting them out than this. But a chartreuse sexy shad, okay? Or a sexy shad, but I love the chartreuse sexy shad square bill just because it's good for clear water, it's good for stained water. If it gets muddy, I'll throw a something like a black and chartreuse. I play around with the colors. Crawfish colors start to work a little bit. Another one of my favorite colors is this new one. I love school bus yellow in the fall, but just throw it on a medium moderate action rod, a short 6'8" to 6'10" square bill rod, and you'll be just fine. A new one from 13 that you guys may have already seen, I did talked a little bit about it on Friday Night Live, is the Jabberjaw, which is a square bill, but it's got a metal bill and no rattles in it, but the bill, when it goes through the water, let me get it up to my microphone, makes a rattle, and it's a different sound. It sounds a lot like a chatterbait, but it's a square bill. And I fished it today in some submerged grass and was able to rip it through the grass pretty easily. May have something to do with that metal bill cutting through or something, but it just came through the grass. If I ripped it, it came and ripped clean of the grass more times than not, and I was really, really happy with it. But that's a chatterbait. Same thing, fish it as like you would a square bill. I got it on a 7'3" medium moderate rod, and it's just a lot of fun. I love a square bill this time of year. All right, soft plastics. I've got 3 soft plastics that I use this time of the year if I'm not punching. Punching is a whole different video. I'll link to one if you want me to down. I'll put it down in the description so you guys can look at my punching video. But a swimming worm is one that I love to throw this time of the year. The bass are getting out into the outside edges of grass lines. They're getting into cover. I want something that looks like a bait fish, but I can rig it Texas rigged so it's weedless and it doesn't get snagged up as much. And this is one that's been out about a year. It's called the Ninja Tail. I'll dye the tail of it chartreuse with some JJ's Magic, and it looks like a bluegill swimming in the water. And that little Ninja Tail right there really gets a lot of action, a lot of swimming action, even under very, very slow fall, or if you're just slowly dragging it, it'll give you a lot of action. And it looks like a tail swimming. I have gone through 2 packs in the last week, and so I had to actually go and find, go dig in my truck and find my last pack that I brought with me on my trip. But the Ninja Tail is a great one. Another one I'll use is a cutter worm from Rage Tail. The Zoom, what they call speed worm, is a good one. And I rig it on a Texas rig with a 1/4 ounce or 3/16 ounce weight, so a lighter weight, and I'm dragging it over and through the grass, the submerged vegetation, and I'll swim it back to the boat really slow. I fish it on a medium heavy fast action rod or a medium heavy moderate action rod. Really doesn't, it's not that big of a deal, but fluorocarbon line, 7:3 to 1 gear ratio reel, or 8:1 to 1. Like I said, this is one of those things that just really doesn't make a difference, but you're slowly dragging it through the grass. I've got a video about that I filmed on Chickamauga a few years ago that's all about fishing that kind of a worm through the grass, and it is a lot of fun to fish. And when they're not hitting top water and they're not chasing bait, it's one of those things that they will hit and you'll catch fish on. So it's almost a must for me. I have one all the time, and I run out of them, and I go through tons of them every year. But a swimming worm is perfect for that. So the next one, you're not going to believe this, is a Fluke. And I don't have one on my boat. I rarely ever don't have a pack of Flukes on my boat. They're in my truck, but they're not on the boat. So a Fluke, a Zoom Super Fluke, is something I always tie on weightless, and when they're chasing bait, when they're keyed in on bait on outside grass lines and around cover and stuff like that, I rig it weightless, put a swivel way up above, another video gonna pop up, but and I start to just, you know, jerk, pause, and rip it and pull it around all the grass and fish it over top of the grass and try to get that reaction strike. It is perfect. It is something that I always fish this time of the year, and I did not put put 1 pack, because I had 1 pack left in my barn, put it in my truck, and did not put it in the boat. But I have it on my kayak come tournament time. But anyway, that's it. That's the baits that I'm going to use, try try to get some confidence in this fall, and I'm also just going to use it to load the boat. I'm excited about this fall. The weather's looking good. The grass on Guntersville's looking good. I'm preparing for the KBF National Championship. It's like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to the winner. I'm basically going to live on this lake until that time. I've got the Spro Frog tournament this weekend right here, actually day after tomorrow, right here. So that ought to be a lot of fun. But fall is coming, guys, especially here in the South. It's already there for some of you guys, and I'm going to make a video here in just either later today or tomorrow about fall fishing, both here in the South and up north, so stay tuned for that one. But the baits for fall, I cannot wait till they finish this transition and get up shallow and really start feeding. But like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go out and catch some fish, and have a great day. We'll see you.